Okay, Ed Henderson, go ahead.
Trevor, happy 4th of July to you and your family.
Thank you.
I know that for the last several months, the players have been working out on their own and in small groups. But what does it feel like now for you guys to finally be back together as a unit and going through the daily routine and getting into a rhythm?
Yeah, happy 4th to you too, Ed. Yeah, it's been a challenge, kind of getting used to all the different things, different routine that we're going to have this year. We know that, we knew that coming in and just kind of getting used to it. I think has been kind of seamless for our team, and but it's great to see the guys. It's good to be in the clubhouse and feel that camaraderie, and feel like we're in the middle of a season again. And I think we realize how much we miss baseball and how much we love it, and it's been so fun to be with these guys.
Thanks, Trevor.
Okay, Patrick Saunders, go ahead.
Hi, Trevor. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, Patrick?
Good, thanks. I think Tony Walters said this earlier today to us. Thought it was interesting. He said, the team that stays the healthiest, or the teams that stay the healthiest, might actually have the best chance to be winning teams. Have you guys talked about that as a group, or is that just something you kind of understand that, you have to take care of business in terms of this pandemic?
I think it's understood, but it is something that we met about. We met as a team yesterday, and we also had a players-only meeting that we addressed that exactly. And we feel like, just like it was brought up in the meeting, the healthiest team could be the best team in this situation. And I think we have to take that and almost use it as an advantage. We got to try to be the healthiest team. First of all, you don't want to get this virus because it's not good, and you can get really sick, and people have passed away, and you don't want that, obviously. But you just try to be as careful as you can off the field. I think being at Coors Field is the safest place for us to be, knowing that guys have been tested, everyone around here has been tested, and so it's really the challenge is away from the field, and we challenge our guys to really take it to heart and not really think about yourself in this thing, but think about your teammates, think about other players' wives, that could be high risk, and there's so much that goes into it. And I think, if you're doing something for someone else, then I think you'll do a better job of it.
Buddy said that a couple days ago, he said he actually thought you guys reported to this summer camp in better shape than he expected. Looking around, I was watching you guys take a little infield late this afternoon, looking at your teammates, how they've come in shape, et cetera. You agree? Do you think the guys are maybe even in better shape than you anticipated they would be?
I do. I'm very impressed with the way the guys have come in. We feel, and I think we kind of kept that up during the downtime. We stayed in communications. We were talking to each other. We wanted to stay ready because we had no idea when this thing was going to start back up again, and we didn't want to be the ones that were stuck behind or not in shape to go when it was time to go. And I think you're seeing that now. You're seeing the benefits of guys staying ready, really taking it seriously, and being really professional about their craft. And I think we've shown up in a great spot to take advantage of that.
Excellent, thank you, appreciate it.
Thomas Harding, go ahead.
Yeah, Trevor, I have one, then a couple follow-ups. But first of all, the video I've seen of you look like you're even trimmer than maybe in a spring training where you come in a little bit bulkier. What was the motivation and the idea behind how you've shown up? And are you lighter right now?
Yeah, I am a little bit lighter. It's normally what I go through the progression of a normal season. So that's how we wanted to treat my body and to try to keep it, for what it's been used to the past, 10 years of playing baseball. So I usually come into spring a little heavier, knowing that I'm going to lose a little weight. And so, my body just kind of fell into the evolution that it's been in. And, I changed my workouts a little bit to cater to that, and I feel good. I feel like I'm ready to play baseball right now.
So how many pounds are you down, or where do you stand on that?
So right now I'm like 205 to 207, and usually I report to spring around 212 to 215. So we always account for a little bit of weight loss in spring, being in Arizona and it's hot, and obviously I feel my body feels really good at 205, and I feel fast and I still feel strong. So that's where I like to be.
The other thing that I've kind of noticed just listening to you is that you're really stepping forward in a leader sense on this team. How much did this whole, not just the pandemic, but what's going on in society? I remember seeing your tweets about that. How much did this maybe put some things into perspective for you? And what kind of call was that to you, Trevor Story, as a man?
Yeah, I think you're right. It certainly does put things into perspective. What we're going through as a country. You kind of realize that sports and baseball and your job is not as important as you probably think it is, and it's tough to feel that, but you look back at it, and for me, I want to be a person that helps and changes for the better, and not just kind of took things and didn't give back or leave it better than it was when I left. And I think that's kind of what I realized, and I feel like it's always a work in progress, and I feel like it's a tough thing to address, but it's something that I felt I needed to do, and it's not easy, and it's not comfortable right now, but I think that's where we need to be.
And just the last one about leadership, it seems to have carried into the clubhouse this year. I know you talked about it in the past that at times you want to be vocal, at times you want to be one-on-one. Do you feel like now, and especially with Ian taking the year off too, that you have to be a veteran leader in whatever way that you do it on this team?
Right. I do feel that we're going to miss Dez in that sense. He was a vocal leader for us, and he still will be, and I've said that, and I think just because he's not here doesn't mean he's not going to have a big impact on our team. And but yeah, I do sense that in myself, and I've made it a point because I think me and Nolan we've talked about this a lot, and we want to kind of be those guys for this team, and we want to challenge the guys, and maybe call people out that aren't doing what they should, or if they're not practicing hard enough. And that starts with us. That starts with me and Nolan, and Chuck and these guys. We have to set the tone, and Murph, and we have to set the tone in that sense. And so every single day is going to be hard, and it's not going to be easy, and guys are going to be looking to us, and I think that's what comes with it when you challenge your teammates, and you're kind of putting your neck out there.
Thank you.
All right, Nick Rothschild, go ahead.
Hey, Trevor. What was the atmosphere like getting back, being around the guys today? And what was the one thing that struck you as most different, and maybe most different compared to other years when you've come back to Coors Field today?
It was awesome being back with the guys. Like I said earlier, the camaraderie is special with our team. We love being around each other, and we love being at the ballpark. I think, the differences of, you can't really gather and be around each other or high five and dap each other up all the time. I think that's been the biggest difference for me, and just being very conscious of where you're at throughout the clubhouse, throughout the whole stadium is a difference as well. And the masks, obviously, we're trying to keep each other accountable, always trying to wear our masks and be smart about that. So and the testing and just the strict protocols that we're doing, which rightfully so. There's a lot of differences, but I think we can do it to be able to play baseball.
All right, Mark Hisla, go ahead.
I've got two questions, so one follow-up. First, you just mentioned the mask. You grew up with a bat and glove. How long does it take or to get used to that mask and to consider it part of your equipment bag?
Yeah, it's been different. But I think during the quarantine, we did a good job of that, me and my wife. So, it's kind of become second nature already. But when we do get to the field, I do find myself, I'll step away without it, and then I'll be like, oh man, I got to go back and get it. And just little reminders like that when we're at the field. I think it's easy to kind of fall into your routine of old and not think about it, but it's become the new norm to have it in your back pocket, to have it hanging in your locker when you're not using it. But it's been different.
And the follow-up is you're a proud son of Texas, and back in Texas, they've had a spike in cases. How's that touched you directly, indirectly, your heart? I mean, I know you care about that state.
Right. Yeah, it's been rough, over the past week in Texas, and it's scary, man. We we feel like you want to get past this thing as quickly as possible, and we know it hasn't been easy, and we feel like everyone just needs to wear their mask now and be safe, and just because Texas is such a great state with so many great people in it, and we just need to protect those people. And I think the least that we can do is wear our masks. And but personally, me and my family, thank God we've been good. Everyone's been healthy and good, and we've had some close friends and or not family, but close friends that have had it, and this thing is nothing to mess with. And but thank God that they've recovered nicely and are doing good now. So but it's scary, and I think I think now is the time to take it serious as ever.
Thank you.
Okay, Barry Bloom.
Hey, Trevor, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm great. So I'm sure you must know that Freddie Freeman and 3 of the Braves tested positive today, and Freeman is sick. Buster Posey said earlier that he's considering watching what's happening and opting out, and Trout wasn't too positive about it yesterday. How concerned are you about this whole thing as you move forward trying to get to the season?
I think it's obviously the biggest concern, and I think that weighs on each player day in and day out. Not only for their personal health, but for their wives, for their family, their close ones. Like I said, this thing is, it doesn't discriminate. You can be asymptomatic and not even know that you have it and pass it along, and it's just scary, man, because it seems like we don't know much about it, but at the end of the day, we want to play baseball, but we can't really risk the health and the lives of the players and the players' families or anything like that. So as long as we can do this thing the right way and be smart about it, then I'm all for it. But if it gets out of control, then things might change a little bit.
Did you consider for yourself and family opting out at all?
No, for me and my wife, we talked about it multiple times, and it's just me and my wife right now, and we don't have any kids or no pets or anything like that. So it was a pretty simple decision for us. We felt like we wanted to play, and we wanted to go out there and do our job, and we love doing it. We've missed it, so it was something that it wasn't a huge decision for us. I think it was not easy, but kind of seamless.
All right. Well, you stay safe and healthy, and the same with your family. Okay.
Thank you. You too.
Okay, Kevin Henry, go ahead.
Hey, Trevor, thanks for taking a few minutes. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
Could you, earlier today, Scott Oberg thought that playing successive weeks, practicing successive weeks at altitude heading into the season might provide a bit of an advantage rather than starting the season in Arizona, then going somewhere on the road for a week before coming to Coors. Do you see that playing at altitude for successive weeks before the season starts could be an advantage for this team?
I do. I've already started to feel you can feel it just in your body everywhere, playing at altitude and just practicing here. You get tired quicker, you don't recover as quickly, but I feel like, my body has bounced back surprisingly better than I thought it would. And Obi's right. I think, that'll serve to our advantage, and not having to spend a month in spring and kind of getting your body used to that, and then after that it's a week on of altitude, a week off, and then it's just kind of crazy after that. But I do think it could be an advantage for us, and it's something that not a lot of teams have to go through, but we are looking to take advantage of that.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
All right, we've got 3 more on here. Tracy Ringlesby, go ahead.
My question just got asked by Kevin. Hi, Trevor.
Hey, Tracy.
I will pass at this point now.
Okay, Nick Groke, then go ahead.
Hey, Trev, to follow up from earlier, you were really just one of 2 players, you and Ian, who spoke out real forcefully during the Black Lives Matter protests. What led you to that, to you saying something and so thorough and so forceful? What was the thought process at the time that brought you to that?
Yeah, I think because I felt strongly about it, and I still do. When after George Floyd's murder, it was just, that's all I could think about for days and days, and I still do think about that. And I was trying to figure out a way to word it, to talk about it, express my feelings, how I really felt, and it's just tough, man. And I feel like, I grew up in a city with all minorities, and going to high school, pretty much every school I went to, whites were the minority, and so I could almost feel with the community in that way, and I know how special people come from that community, and I just want equal treatment for everyone, man. And I feel like it's not really that way right now, and I felt like I needed to speak out because I feel like I've had experiences with those people, and I kind of grew up with those people. Not to say that I know the way that they feel or have been put in their shoes at all, but I just felt that I needed to speak up in that sense, and it was bothering me. And I saw where Joey Votto kind of said that he was losing sleep over it, and that's exactly the way that I felt. I didn't really sleep well, and it bothered me to my core, and I felt the need to say something, and I did. And that's not enough though. We need action, and we need to go forth with some change.
What the way Ian phrased it too, when he's been talking about it, he kind of talks about how he's working through how to approach it too, kind of in his head as he goes along, which is really interesting and real honest. Have you talked to other people about this, and was Ian one of them? If you did, and what kind of what kind of connections have you made thinking about these things?
Yeah, it's I've talked to Ian about it. I've talked to a few other people about it. I've talked to a lot of people in my circle about it, and outside of my circle too, just to get other perspectives and to kind of see it from other people's perspective. And I think that was kind of the main thing that I saw was, everyone, it's easy to be selfish and kind of caught up in your own world and how you see the world, and it's easy to think, that just because it doesn't affect you, that you shouldn't think about it or talk about it or do anything about it. And that was the thing that kind of hit me, was like, man, I'm kind of stuck in my own little bubble here, and not really realizing what's going on to my brothers and sisters out here. And I think that was one of the main things that kind of hit me, just to kind of look at it from a different perspective, and just kind of try to put yourself in someone else's shoes.
Cool. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Okay, Owen Perkins, and then Thomas Harding will be our last question.
Hey, Trevor, good to see you. I appreciate what you said about the differences and the concerns that you've had going into the season and into the camp. When you look at everything playing into this unique environment this year, what strike you as the biggest challenges in terms of just playing now and what you anticipate in the season, but keeping up with the protocol and everything about the environment that you're gearing up in? What's the biggest challenges that you see there?
Yeah, the biggest challenges I think are obviously staying healthy, man to man, trying to have the most healthy team that you possibly can. You know, we want to get this thing done the right way and try to prevent any outbreaks. And, you know, we feel like we have a pretty solid protocol in place. And, you know, if guys can abide by that and follow that, then I think we have a good chance of doing this thing. The biggest. Go ahead.
But just to follow up on that, the protocols that you have to follow, is there anything about, you know, that's uniquely challenging of any of that aspect that the team or the league is asking of you?
Yeah, I mean, there's pretty much going into the manual. Every single thing is a little challenging, just because it's different. You know, other than our routines of old, what we're always used to. You know, you have to be very cautious of your spacing. You know, the masks is you know, that's one of the easier ones, but just remembering is kind of difficult sometimes. The testing, just kind of the feeling around the clubhouse. You know, you can feel the kind of the stress that it has a little bit, but yeah, the testing is probably the biggest challenge. You know, knowing that we're going to have every other day, or you know, sometimes every day some type of test is probably the most unique challenge.
Thank you.
Okay, and finally, Thomas Harding.
Yeah, Trevor, just kind of getting back to your question. I mean, your answer to Nick there. How important is it, do you feel, for non-minority players to kind of reach out? And also on that, you kind of give us an idea of your background in Texas. I know that your parents, they served all different types of communities. And you saw with Irving Cares, people who were poor, but also on travel teams, black, white, whatever, a lot of people that had the funds to do it. Just kind of talk about your background and how important it is for everybody to make sure that this world's a better place.
Exactly. I was very fortunate to grow up, you know, in the household of my dad was a fireman and paramedic, and you know, risking his lives for other people. And my mom was the CEO of Irving Cares, which is a nonprofit food organization in Irving, my hometown. So growing up, going to Irving Cares and volunteering my time, and, you know, at the time I didn't really know what I was doing. You know, I just knew that some people were, you know, not as fortunate as us, and you know, they didn't have a great situation, and we were just helping people out. And I'm so thankful that my mom, you know, urged me to do that, and being around my dad at the fire station, and just two very selfless jobs of as a career. And you know, I think the way they raised me in that way, and me and my brother, I think we have a different view, I think, than a lot of people. And like you said, man, we're trying to leave this world a better place than when we came into it. And you know, I don't think you can do that by just kind of sitting back. I think you got to act, and you have to talk about things and have conversations that are uncomfortable, and go out there and, you know, help people and volunteer, and just engage in different activities like that can cause change in your community. And like I said, you know, I don't have it down pat. You know, it's a work in progress for me and as well. So I'm thankful that I was raised that way. Thankful to my parents and the teammates that have pushed me to be that way. And Ian's the first guy that comes to mind in that sense. And he's special, man. And I know that he's not just going to talk about it. He's going to be about it, and he's going to be, you know, he's going to be part of the solution. And I know he's already made great strides in his community down in Sarasota. So I'm going to talk to him tomorrow, I think. So I'm looking forward to that.